Oh, I better go back here and admit another one. So it should be, no, this one. So yes, look, that's right. I just wanted to make sure. I've just come back to make sure that I'm going to record this in a moment. Yes, I'm recording it now. Okay, so we're in. No more people coming at the moment. So what I'm going to ask you to do while I just wait for a few more people to come, please introduce yourself in the chat. Tell us where you're from and what time is it. So I'm from Australia and it's about, oh, what is it now? About 9 o'clock, 9 a.m. in the morning. On Friday morning, I might add. So I'm just going to present this and it should be, yes, it should be that. Okay, well, I'm going to get underway now, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go over to this tab and I'll just keep working from this tab, and I'll keep coming back to the chat. Usually we have a couple of people working together. That's why I'm a bit worried. No, I won't panic. We're going to probably dump a whole lot of information onto you, but don't panic. We're here. Just get in contact with us again. Look at this video again. And hopefully we can, still connect and work together. Now, I looked at all the questions and I broke it down into 4 parts. The first one is breaking through Sheehan's wall, which I think I've spelt incorrectly, but I will fix that later. The second part, the questions fell into an area about strategies, about how to get started. The third part was some maintenance tips, how to save the evidence and where do you put it, and a few hot tips from me. But I think, so the first one, breaking through Sheehan's wall, that's the right spelling. We, as GlobalGEG, we made a decision to get together to make sure that we were, supporting people who wanted to become GEG leaders. We made a website. We did our YouTube channel. We were able to help people, find out, to become a GEG leader. But then as time rolled on over that 12 months, we found that we were supporting more and more people with training. And that's why we changed our tagline just slightly. But we are still GEG, a cluster of GEG people. So when we needed to change our wording was really, we needed to change our brand a little bit. So I did some research and I found 3 really interesting concepts, because I've been in education since I was 4.5. So I didn't know about business framework. Sheehan's wall, frequency, and finding your uniqueness or your superpower. So the Sheehan's wall was a concept developed by Peter Sheehan. He's a motivational speaker for business audience. That's why I didn't know him. And he talks about this invisible wall that acts as a barrier between you and your audience, and you need to become known and trusted to break through that wall. And which really, when I saw these 2 questions, how do I build my brand and where do I go from here? What's next? So that's why I started with this, like a business plan, I suppose, although we're not in business, we are in training. So frequency was something that I found really interesting, because first of all, I thought it was something to do with multiple events. How frequent are you in social media or YouTube? But then I found out that it didn't refer to the multiple events. It refers to tuning into someone that you know and trust, we as an audience. And you know what it's like, you're flicking through YouTube or Twitter or any of the social media channels until you find someone that you know and trust. So that's something that I thought, well, that's what we need to build as GlobalGEG, getting our message out there, not everyone wants to listen to what we have to say, but some people like to tune into our frequency. So the other concept that I found really interesting, it was layered on top of this frequency, is the uniqueness of your story. So you need to, as a trainer, you need to work out, what problem do you need to solve? What are you passionate about? And we find that people that we tune into, you probably find a lot of people are saying the same thing when a new feature comes out from Google. And we tune into the people we like to listen to. We like their message. We like the way they present. And that's what the frequency is, because we tune into their uniqueness. But we bring our own personal story because we've researched and we're getting results into it. So I found that really interesting when I did some research to help our GlobalGEG founders to just tweak the branding and then be able to give it to our leaders to go over. One of the big things that we found was really helpful, we need to focus on one thing. And that was something that Sheehan's wall concept talked about. That if you try to be known for everything, podcasting and, like social media, and you're trying to, be a marketeer and a graphic organizer, and you're throwing all of these little energy pits at the wall, you're not going to break through to your audience. Just calm down and focus on one thing. And our one thing when we started ended up being YouTube. We're on other social media aspects, but YouTube was where we started, and it's still our one big thing. So personally, I put my little Bitmojis down there. Personally, Twitter is my one thing, but I do some YouTube research as well, which I feed back mainly through Twitter. So that's my one thing at the moment. I'm still building my skills there. So when I reference any social media, I'm probably going to reference Twitter more, but you'll be able to translate it if Facebook is something that you are using in your district or your even in your country. Now, these questions here, I grouped together because I felt that I could answer them better in this segment here, that finding your opportunity. I'll just admit another one there. So finding opportunities for training, getting your name out there, which is part of branding, and promotional ideas. So something that I'm going to challenge you with to help you add value to your PLN. And I looked at some of your Twitter accounts and so forth, and you are adding value and you are emerging. We can always, gain more skills. So what I'm going to challenge you with is this exit ticket by the end of this particular session is adding value to your professional learning network. So to prepare for that, I'm going to ask you to take some screenshots or maybe a selfie while you're listening, something that you find of value, and make some notes of one or two valuable tips. I hope you get 2 valuable tips that you've learned in this session. And there's an example over there. I've retweeted one of the, the advertisements that GlobalGEG put out. So when I talk about engagement, there's different ways to engage in professional learning network, and it comes with our experience and our confidence. When you're engaging in social media, me for Twitter, you can just look at the stream. You can look at everything going past. The next layer or level of engagement, if you like, is when you might like something or like it, whatever that particular reaction is for that social media. And then I see the next level is that you might make a comment, but are you adding value? Are you saying, oh, wow? Or are you saying, I really liked what you said here? And going down into direct messaging, if you're able to contact that person like that and ask more questions, is really valuable, because there are so many people out there who are willing to help. You only need to ask them. That's how we 6 founders got together. As soon as we dropped out of the Twitter space and got into direct messaging, we started to clarify what we needed and how we could help each other. So, you know, direct messaging, making a comment, you can retweet or reshare in Facebook without adding anything else to it. Or you can reshare and make a comment and say publicly, I found this really valuable. This was something that I hadn't known before. Thanks for sharing. So all those levels of engagement. So what I'm going to ask you in this exit ticket at the end, you'll be just putting a sentence together about something valuable that you found either in the introduction or in this particular session. So those questions that were asked, I'll just go back to here, finding opportunities. You know, you want to get your name out there for private consulting. I mean, summer months are coming up or are here for the US people. So I'm just going to flick past that. And I asked trainers in GlobalGEG, I asked trainers in the big group in the GEG, in the group, the Google group for trainers. And I asked them, how do you get your message out there? How do you connect with people? And these are all the things that they were saying. Join a GEG and, you know, follow people with experience and, you know, like add value to your social media audience, build your PLN. And look, there's one person said, do one thing well. And that's actually what that she hands wall concept was. Do one thing well to break through that wall. Once you get to your audience, become known and trusted, then perhaps there's another wall to break through. Maybe you want to try podcasting. That's another wall. So surround yourself with energy givers. I saw that, when I saw that comment, I thought, yes, you know, like it's a big drain when we try to break through that wall and get teachers on our staff to listen to us, and perhaps maybe they're not our main audience, and, you know, be able to contact people on social media as well. So I'm just going to, you've got this video and you'll have this slide deck later on. An example here is a friend of mine, Helen Cardias-Menis, and she's an Australian, and we follow each other on Twitter, and she's got a great Twitter presence, and she's just started a new website. Follow her, please, because it's really an amazing website where she's offering free training for a lot of people, and I can see that there's an opportunity for her to, you know, to be hired as someone to promote and present different software and different learning activities. So have a look at her work. She is reaching out to friends and GEG and Twitter and saying, look, if you think this is of value, please share it with your community. So I thought that was a really good example to show you. I'll just go back quickly and see if there are any more questions here. So drop them in the chat there if you would like. Otherwise, I'll just keep going on. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, I'm just going to go back here. So a number of questions I grouped together about becoming a trainer. Let's go to the next one. Someone had asked, would a staff meeting be an event? Sure. If you're giving it, and if you're prepared for it, and it's not an off the cuff, if you're prepared for it and it's for a reasonable amount of time, not an off the cuff 10-minute help session. Preparing for it, I mean by sending out a pre-survey. You know, what do you want? Just like you got to join this session. What did you need me to help you with? And can I use different platforms? Definitely, especially if you are training teachers in using Google Classroom, use Google Classroom as the platform. I connect with a lot of people online. I use Moodle because that's the preferred LMS of my diocese. Canvas, that's the preferred LMS of another diocese. Zoom, Meet, Google Classroom. So it's Google Slides, YouTube. Choose your platform and use it wisely. Do one thing, do it well until you're comfortable to move on. Someone had asked only this morning, I saw in the question sheet, when preparing a boot camp, where do I start? And I've hyperlinked this to the GlobalGEG website. We are just putting together plans to have a boot camp in July. I think it's mid-July. But when you get this slide deck at the end of all my slides, I'll give you that link. It'll be hyperlinked there for you. So have a look there. I'm not leaving you in the lurch, but have a look there. And if you want to get back to any of us, please do. Another group of questions was what should I be doing as a trainer? And are there certain focus areas? How do I approach people, create interest in you? So I'm just, I'll pull that back here. Oh, pull that back. There. And how do I create interest? Well, first suggestion is, like there were a lot of suggestions on that slide deck with the flashcards. There would be, connecting with GEGs, connecting with your Twitter community, sending out newsletters. Go back and have a look at that slide, but also find other trainers in your area. And to do that, I've created this little edu directory here. See if I can get it started here. Yes. So there's no sound on this, but so what you do is you search for edu directory, and so then you'll be taken to the edu directory, and what you can do is have a look around that map, push yourself around, I'm going to look for Australia here, and then once you click on that, so you can actually go through and look at the people who are in your area. You can filter, look for people, and it's quite easy to for other educators and principals to find you here amongst all of these other consultants. And you can filter if you're looking for trainers to connect with for Google Classroom. And you might be looking for diversity and equity, and you might be looking for one-to-one deployment. So this filter system is a really great option here. That's just a little video without any sound, and I thought that might be of help to you. So I'm just going to pull out of that full screen. You never know, I might be able to do it. Can I do that? Go to the next one, because it's not going to work. Why doesn't it work? That's strange. I might have to just escape. Oh, that's what you do. Oh, and I found something new. I found this last night. Why don't I go to the next section? You know, when you insert a video into a slide and you do get other related videos showing up as you finish the video. So what I found out was, just Googled it, there it was. What I found out was if you add this question mark REL equals 0 at the end of the YouTube link, and there I've got it there in the red box, just adding that, and then add it to your slide, well, then you're able to cut out a lot of those related videos. I was really pleased with that. So thinking about what's your best training experience and what's your worst. And Rick sent this cartoon to me, and I thought it was a classic. You know, we've all been there. We've all had to go through these slides. And then on top of that, when the presenter reads it word for word, it's just like, think of your worst training experience as an audience and don't do that. So I'm going to focus on someone that I think is amazing. There are a lot of people out there that are amazing. And Jen Hall, anytime that you need any help with Jen Hall, she will, first of all, she will send you one of her hundreds of videos that she creates. And this is her YouTube channel. And there you can see in the description, she lists all the things that she can offer you in her YouTube channel. And I said to her, why did you call it 411? I mean, is it your room number? Or, you know, something like that. And she said, no, 411 in America is like the emergency for tech help. Like 911 is the emergency services for first responders, and 411 is the technology support person. So she thought that looked pretty good, TT 411. And that was how she began her brand. And she went from there. I think she was just supporting people in her school, and then more people wanted to help, and then people and conferences were saying, come and share with us. So it's building your brand, one thing to start with, and doing it slowly and carefully. So there were some more questions about implementing technology, training a large group and a small group, customizing. I'll just go to the pre-event survey is key. You really need to know what your audience needs, and ask the next question. Sometimes I don't ask the next question and I get stuck in a presentation that I've prepared for an audience whose needs are vastly different from what I imagined. And to give you an example, I was working with teachers individually in a school, and then the school said, can you do a staff meeting on Google Docs in particular? I said, yes, sure. So I was going to come along to that school. So my question was, do you use Google Docs? And they said, oh, yes, yeah. And I thought, oh, like I wasn't being judgmental, but I thought, I don't think they're using it to the depth that it can be utilised. So the next question I asked was, how do you use Google Docs? And one of the people said, oh, well, we use it every week. The principal puts the Google Doc up on the wall. That's our agenda, and we work from that. So he takes us through those hyperlinks. And I said, do you know how to share possession? Share the document with different groups? Do you know how to use the comment feature? And they didn't. And it was, they don't know what they don't know. So asking those next questions is really important. Small groups, you can get around the room and be able to talk with people if it's face-to-face, if you're lucky enough to be able to do that. The large groups, you need to have a resource bank so they can reference. And I'm going to show you a few examples here. Not only do you send them off to or have links to the YouTube channels that you want them to reference while you are busy with another group, but also an overload of information. I find that handy, especially with online work, and that people can just sift through and find what they need. I do have someone had asked about forms. I've put a link to how to use forms effectively. There was a question about using online work and there are limits to it. I use a pacing guide in the subject line. So if I've got a 2-week online course, I will have, let's say, about 5 or 6 emails that I regularly send out to those participants. And without nagging them, in each of those subject lines, I will have day 1 of 14 days updates, day 5 of 14 days updates. And it does help them pace. They're busy people and they don't need to be overloaded. But I found that to be a really successful way and a gentle way to keep them on track. I have a participant tracking log, like a leaderboard, where I just put in whether they've got green, whether they've done the assignment or the exit ticket or not. So entry tickets, how much do you know about this? I expect you to know this. If you need more help, go and look at this small YouTube tutorial that I've given. So there's a little bit on customizing. I've linked this. I don't know whether this is going to work. No, it won't. So what I'll do is I'll stay here. So this is linked to a HyperDoc, and you'll see that I have referred to the fact that I got it from the HyperDoc girls, and it was a template. I was asked to give a presentation to teachers. No, it was to office workers who were new to the diocese and new to using Google Drive. It's about a year old, so there's some of the links may not work. But I just thought I'd show you. I gave them activities and asked them to explore things on the left. Then I asked them to do a task, and some people knew how to do that task. So I gave them like a differentiated approach, getting geeky. So do prepare more than you think you need, differentiate, and fail forward. It's the way we learn, by failing forward. You need feedback. Make sure that people fill in, have that opportunity to fill in the feedback form. Become the keystone educator by building your uniqueness, building your skill base, working on your one thing. And what I mean by the keystone, when a builder is building an archway, they build it over a framework. And if they take the framework away, it will collapse. But the last block, the last brick to go in there is the keystone. So it's the one that holds everything together. So do see yourself as a keystone educator, and you are the person that people come to probably in your school all the time. So yeah, to keep developing those skills. This is an example here of giving more information that you online than you probably need to give when you're doing face-to-face, because I'm not there all the time when they come to this activity. So here's an example here, and I'm going to get bigger screen here. Here's an example here. It was an online, and that didn't work. It was an online activity, and I asked them to consider the protocols. This is the way we're going to use this Jamboard, and also we are going to use this brainstorming activity. So they were set up with the knowledge to start using and adding their post-it notes. And by the way, I created those backgrounds in Google Slide. It was really easy to do. If you open up a new Google Slide, it's exactly the same size as a Jamboard. So I don't think there was anything else you really needed to see there. People can move it around. And of course, the rest of the background is solid, and I think that's all you need to see there. So there was a lot more information that was needed than was necessary, but people like to refer back. You're working with adults that have got so many things on their mind and so many things that they need to be able to reference. This was an example that I just put together yesterday on demonstrations, and I probably have done this bad demonstration anyway. I wonder why that didn't work. So poorly demonstrated trainings just show people the features, and they don't go into it. They don't show how you move from feature to feature, and they don't show how you actually add an image to that space. So, because, you know, like I'm even watching this now thinking, oh, come on, just click on something. I want to see what it looks like. So don't do that. Better demonstrations are when you actually explore the tools yourself and demonstrate as you're talking, and be able to change the color and the size of the pen tool. And by doing this, you're inadvertently just showing people that you need to go back to that cursor to change to a new feature. So, you know, like I think I've seen, you know, when I've seen those kind of presentations, it's probably because people are a bit short on time. So I'll just escape out of that and I'll go to the next one. But, you know, like those little examples are there for you. I had questions about how to set training and plan content. Well, I'm going to use the example that we had here. You filled in this form. This form, by the way, has changed about 4 or 5 times over the last several months, because I need specific information. I need to know what your questions are, whether you were, you know, needing help on video in the other room, or what kind of questions you needed as new trainers. So what I had done was, get rid of Andy there. What I had done was, this is the response sheet that goes to that form. And I collected all of those responses, and when you look at it later on, you can see that I've actually crossed them out, because once I've collected that response, I've put it on a training document for any of the Global Educator trainers that are coming on board. And what they can do is they can see all of those questions, and they can add responses, ideas to the side to help them with their presentation. They can also look at previous times that trainers have used this document, and they can go down and they can get ideas from those previous resources there have been linked, and ideas. So do prepare, do have your your pre-event survey to help you. How to design engaging professional development. Now, look, these 8 YouTube channels are fabulous. I could probably have picked 20, but thank goodness Adam Hill posted on his Instagram post these 8 YouTube channels. And if you're not following any of these people, please do. Please look at how they present. You know, like, people are tuning into them. Why? What kind of work do they present? Do they present on, you know, like they've got their YouTube channels here, but have a look and see at the other places that they do present. So I'm just going to go back here and see if I bamboozled everyone here. But no, there's no more questions. So I'll keep going. So hopefully this is what you needed, and don't feel overwhelmed, because you will get this video and this slide deck. A few questions on the maintenance. How many hours, and how do you provide evidence of those Google trainings? So yes, you do need 12 each year, and that little snip I've taken out of the Teacher Training Centre. And what I'm going to do here is take you through how I upload a new event into my Edu Activity app. So I'm just going to play this now. I'll just get it a bit bigger here. You search for Edu Activity app, and Google will take you to this link, and you sign in using the account that you became a trainer in. This is the first screen that you will see. You choose the account that you are a trainer in. At this, you can sometimes get stuck here for a long while. You do need to submit some feedback if that's the case. So when you get in, you can see your profile. You can see your stream of your activities. You can report an activity, you can view them, or you can edit your profile if you want to edit some of your wording there. If you do have any problems, submit feedback. So I'm going to report an activity, and let's see, I'm going to try it again. Report the activity, and I'm going to report a training event. Now, there are 2 ways that you can do this. You can upload a CSV file, and there's a template there that will help you, or you can add a new single event one at a time, and that's what I'm going to do now. So, of course, you do your date, and I'm going to choose that particular date and make the name of the training something sensible. And I'll choose my audience and look for your country. All of this data Google needs to keep supporting you. Oh, look, I've done this before. Southwest Rocks. The name of the venue. So I'm going to choose, or sometimes I work with teachers on Zoom. And an outline of the training description. So I'm going to just very briefly put something here. So it might be on Google Classroom training, and yeah, how to get started. Okay. So the length is, oh, well, let's, no, not -1. Let's go +1 hour. Number of trainees would be the people who signed up or actually came to your training. There's 12. The delivery format, of course, will be online because it's Zoom. And what's my primary focus? Google Classroom. I can make any extra ideas here, because I won't, because I'll be fibbing if I did. And I can edit that or submit. And as I said, I'm not submitting that because I'd be just fibbing. Great thing here is if you give an event a number of times, you can actually clone it and change some of the details there. So I hope that's of help. I don't think, nobody tells you how to do this. Just telling you now, no one tells you how to do it. So hopefully that was help for you. How can I get, you know, trainers' curriculum and other supports? Okay, so one of the main areas is go back to your groups here, where you get all of your information from for trainer, and it's huge. But if you abridge the summary and only get a condensed version, you can do that easily by looking for that group and changing it to either each email or an abridged version. So I just get a group of them and I just scan that quickly, and then I save it over into a label, so I don't have my inbox really clogged up. Now, at the bottom of that group, let me see if I can get back to that one. At the bottom here, there's the NDA content, and I can't share anything with you, but if you are not signed up for your non-disclosure agreement, you need to go back to your trainer group email and find something that's been mentioned, filter search for NDA, and you will be able to get to that website, Google Certified Trainer Perks, and you'll be able to get loads of free training that Google is supporting you with. I can't show you because I've signed that agreement, but please, if you haven't signed that agreement, please do go searching for it in your trainer website. So what qualifications and experiences? Growing as a trainer. Let's see, what have I put here? Loads of ideas. And look, I've just borrowed Stephanie Howell's email signature. When you go to websites, they offer training and they offer badges and levels of training. So do have a look for those. The Google for Education Teacher Centre, go looking back at that because there's loads of ideas there. Look for blogs and podcasts and look for your GEGs. In fact, ask your local GEG, can you offer a training, and get your practice in there and grow your audience. Grow your audience on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube as well. So I'll go past that one there. Having said all of that, looking at all of these amazing trainers, please remember to only compare yourself with yourself, because you are continually growing, and it's great to be able to aspire to be a great presenter or a great YouTube influencer, but look at what you were doing yesterday and how you're doing tomorrow. I love this sketch note by Sylvia Duckworth. Someone had asked about creating a Google Educator group in your own region. As I said, we 6 founders began together by helping each other become GEG leaders. And we found that Georgina Dean, and there's her details there, she gave amazing tutorials, and they're hyperlinked there. There are 5 tutorials to help you become a GEG leader, work out how to build your group and how to connect with them. So do have a look at those training schedules there, those training. I'm just having a look here. No, everyone else is fine. That's good. We'll go on. Hot tips. Let's hope that I've got something here. Study other trainers' presentations. See how they have an intro and an outro. Listen to what their tagline is. What are they on about? Do acknowledge others, because even though there's 5,000 or 7,000 trainers in the world, it still is a very small group, and people love to be acknowledged for the work that they're doing. So please do that. Share your own work as well, and do use the correct language. Now, we've gone from G Suite for Education to Google Workplace. So do use the new terminology and acknowledge when you've made a mistake and say, no, this is new terminology. Don't call Gmail Google Mail or, Docs. I think some people call it G-Docs. Just try and keep to that correct language. Do use the pre-event forms to focus on specific needs, and do ask for feedback, because that's how we improve our practice. The social media, there it is, pick one thing and do it well. GlobalGEG is the one thing was YouTube, and we are really big on YouTube. When you have a look at our GlobalGEG website, you'll see that. But we're also present on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, because some of our teams have taken on that role. There's not one person doing all of this. So those people are focusing on their one thing. Show, explain, and demonstrate, and learn about the guidelines for using the logos that Google allow us to use. And all of that can be found in the Teacher Education Centre. So your challenge: practice adding value to your PLN. You've taken some screenshots or selfies throughout the session, and you've made some notes, because you need to be able to expand on that thought to be able to add value. And so over the next 24 hours, create a Twitter post and share something of value that you've learned in this session. Hopefully you have, and add your screenshot, but tag GlobalGEG. You're building a wider audience, because GlobalGEG are going to say, who's this person? I'm going to go and have a look and see what they're doing. And hashtag Google ET, because that is all of the trainer family. In fact, have a look at that hashtag and follow anybody. Oh, I've just set mine off. And have a look at the people who are listed in that hashtag. If you're on Facebook, create a Facebook post as well. So there's your challenge. And I'm going to leave you this one quote, because I found this quote from Rory Vaden, another motivational speaker for business audience. We are most powerfully positioned, and we are as trainers, and to serve the people we once were, because last week or last month we were just learning something and we could see how valuable it was, and we are putting a training session together. So do remember that you're probably only 1 or 2 steps ahead of the people that you are training. And I think that's the beauty of being a Google certified trainer, is that we have that opportunity, and it's really inspiring and exciting to be in this wider group to help each other as well. So last slide there, and I will tidy up this slide, and it is available here. We do ask for feedback, because we are still learning our craft. Follow GlobalGEG. Here's the GlobalGEG website. There's the website that's built off that GlobalGEG website, and don't forget to keep looking at the Certified Trainer program. So I'm going to get you to go back to the main. I wonder if I can remember. I'm just going to click along here to see what the main meet was. This should be it. Go back. No, I don't think I can put it in the link here. Thank you. I've got too many things open here. So I really appreciate your help. Thank you for doing that. So follow that link back, get out of this meet, follow that link back, and I hope I haven't overwhelmed you too much. But there were lots of great questions. I wanted to honour those questions, and not only the people who are in this meet live, but there were many other people who are going to watch this later on. So thank you, everyone, and I'll see you back there in the other meet. Okay then, bye for now.